Hello and welcome back to CannedGab's gaming couch of I don't know what the fuck this is. Before I begin, I just want to say thanks to everyone for all the positive feedback on the last video. I thought it'd get, you know, 20, 30 views max. So with how it performed, I am very grateful for all the positive feedback and all the kind words talking about the couch and how I presented the last video. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. A majority of the comments I read mentioned a lot of the same problems, but what surprised me was a lot of you guys had problems with how the Optic performs when unmagnified. So I took it upon myself to test out a lot of these claims that people were making in the comments, just to see if these are valid claims and if there could be things that can be improved with the Optic, you know, going forward. Now, one of the comments I read mentioned that when you use the HHS-1's holo sight unmagnified, its sensitivity is significantly lower than just a regular XPS-3 holo sight. So when I tested this out, honestly, I felt no difference in the sensitivity. These tests in the video, they really aren't, you know, the best to go off of, but just trust me, I personally couldn't find any difference between a regular XPS-3 holo sight and the one on the HHS-1. So I think I remember this being the case a couple wipes ago, but it's since changed. So if you want to use the HHS-1 as a very expensive holo sight, you're fine. You're fine. It'll perform just like a regular XPS. You're A-okay. Another thing I saw mentioned in a lot of the comments was the floatiness of the reticle while shooting, and just the floatiness of the reticle in general. I could see it being a little bit more plausible. Again, this is another claim it's really hard to test, and it's very subjective. I did notice on the HHS-1 that the reticle jumped around a little bit more than the XPS. This is something that I'll go into later in the video because there's a couple external factors that could be the reason why it's more floaty or it seems like it performs differently. So let's put this one on the back burner. Another complaint I saw was that the recoil on the HHS-1 is a lot more than that of the regular XPS-3 holo sight. To test this, I took two of the same AK-102s, both loaded with M855s, and I shot them full auto, standing, crouched, and prone at 25 and 50 meters. I also did 100 meters, but I kind of realized that doing full auto at 100 meters is a little pointless. My main takeaway from testing the recoil is that it does seem like there is a little bit more recoil when you use the HHS-1, but I think that's its perceived recoil, and I'll go into that right now, and this is tying back to the sensitivity and floatiness test that I did earlier. On the HHS-1, the holo sight is mounted farther away from the shooter than that of the XPS-3. Now, my personal theory on this, and I did search around on the internet for like 3 minutes and found nothing, but when the Optic is mounted farther away from the shooter's face, the perceived recoil on said Optic is a lot more pronounced than if the Optic was a lot closer to the shooter's face. This could not be true. If it isn't, let me know, but I think that's the case when it comes to the HHS-1. The holo performs about the same when under night vision, but when you magnify it, it gets a little wonky. There's a slight glow around the reticle, and when you look at certain points, the glow gets very exaggerated. Now, this is a small gripe, and it seems like it could be easily fixed. This Optic in particular, it is rated for night vision, and it's supposed to be really good with night vision, so this is something I would like to see change. In the real life videos that I watched, researching for this video, Yeah, guys, I researched for this video. A lot of the people that own these magnifiers, they said that you want to have that magnifier as far back as it can go. So if they moved everything with the HHS-1 just as close to the shooter's face as possible, then that could solve a lot of the problems with the crappy eye relief. It would probably mitigate the reason to do a 62% zoom in the screen, and it'd probably solve a lot of the other problems that I noticed with the HHS-1 as well, like the recoil and the floatiness of the reticle. And if it doesn't, then there's actually something wrong with this optic in the game. But if not, then hey, we're all good. Someone brought up that the 62% zoom used to be on both the magnified version of the HHS-1 and the holo itself when it's unmagnified. That user also brought up that it's really not beneficial for us to complain about stuff like this because BSG will just maliciously revert the changes back to how the game used to be. This kind of approach, you know, it really won't accomplish or improve anything with the game, which the end goal for all of us as the gamers, and I'm sure with the developers too, is that they want the game to be the best version of the game it can possibly be. So we as the players, we should really take it upon ourselves to call out BSG when there's things that are executed poorly, when there's mechanics that don't really work, when there's just weird bugs with certain things. We should take it upon ourselves to hold them accountable. I mentioned it before, I love the game. I want it to be the best version of the game it can possibly be. And laser focusing on something as innocuous as the HHS-1, you know? It might seem a little asinine, but hey, you have to start somewhere. And if this gets improved, then we can move on to the next thing. Before I go, I just want to say again, thank you for watching. Thank you for all the feedback on the last video. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you guys again soon. So, yep. Goodbye.